Welcome back, everyone, to World in Flames and Days of Decision put together with duct tape, I guess, and optimism. It will all be good. It'll all be fine. Yes. It will all be good. It'll all be fine. Anyway, when we last left off, we were doing September, October, 1937. Yes, that's what we're doing. It's getting closer. Yes, the drum beat is getting louder. War is... I don't know if war is coming yet. It's a peaceful time. Nothing... I'm sure it will... Wiser minds will come together and straighten things out, and it will be peace. We've already had the war to end all wars. So these doomsayers, I'm telling you, it's going to be fine. Just fine. That's what it's going to be. Yep. Anyway, last time we met, the war in China deepened. Japanese forces pressed their advantage with methodical force, smashing through the northern defenses, seizing the city of Beijing, and tightening their grip on China. On the mainland. In the skies above, Chinese and Japanese aircraft clash in a bitter engagement that left the rising sun with air superiority for now. Chinese pilots are mourned as heroes by the population. In the south, a bold amphibious thrust struck at the coast. The landing succeeded, but not without cost, and so many hearts were broken in mainland Japan. The Japanese Marines paid dearly, and Chinese resistance, though battered, did not break. The line now bends across northern and eastern China. Resources hang in the balance. Winter approaches. Beyond the battlefield, the world watches. Political maneuvering continue in Europe and Washington alike as governments stockpile influence and prepare for the next decisive move. This will be the beginning of November-December 1937. Will the weather save China? Will diplomacy harden into alliance? Or will escalation continue unchecked? Welcome back to the war room. Let's see what history decides tonight. And if you like the content, don't forget to subscribe and follow and ring the bell icon on YouTube and all that other good stuff. So yeah, here's the situation in China right now, which of course is what the entire world is paying attention to. The landing in the south, the breakthrough in the north, Beijing's fall. This is a very loosely held city here in Shenzhen. But anything can happen, and anything will happen. And this is November, December, so maybe Japan will stall out and China will get a much needed respite. Yes, peace in our time. That's what we'll get. Yep. The League of Nations didn't exist in 1912 or 13 or 14 to solve these terrible issues, but now the League of Nations exists. So a big war of that caliber can never happen again. That's, after all, what it's for, right? So, yes, we can trust that designers of the League of Nations, that they have foreseen everything, and so on. Yes. Alright, we're gonna go straight into the political phase like we have done in all the other times, and as all the other times, I have already calculated that because I could. So, Germany is bidding 3 points, a +3 in bonus, gives them 6. Italy bids 1, +4 gives them 5. The US is actually going to bid 5, +1 is also 6, like Germany. But they have worse political effectiveness, so they're going to go after Germany. The Commonwealth bids 3, +2 equals 5. Because Italy went before it last turn, it will go after Italy this time as well. We have Japan bids 1, +3 is 4. We have the Soviet Union bids 1 +2 is 3. Yeah, 1 +2 is 3. I'm a genius with math, as you all might recognize. France, 1 +1 is also 2. Is 2, unlike the 3. Math is my strong suit. You noticed that, right? And China bids 1 + nothing, gives it 1. So here is the new initiative order, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else. With Germany going first. And Germany declares war on the entire world at... No. No, Germany does not declare war on the entire world at the same time because Germany haven't mobilized all its forces needed to do such a thing. So, yeah, that's not going to happen. Instead, Germany will make a minor economic agreement, and we're doing it with Romania again because of all those sweet Romanian resources. Look at that. I need to... I only have 2s and 1. Okay. I'm gonna fix that. Let's go for a 3 and a 4, shall we? We need that here. 3. There we go. And now it doesn't want to do it. Okay, whatever. I'll just pick this one. For some reason I could do it when I was like between streams. But when I'm streaming I apparently can't do it. So I'm just gonna pick this one here, marking that we now have 3 resources in total going to Germany from Romania. That gives Germany 1 more resource. Since Germany has a production multiple of 2, it means 9 factories times 2, that's 18. That is 15 money then, for now. So signing this deal actually gives Germany money. We had 3 bids out of the 17 pool, and we have to pay 4 money for this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now Germany is at a deficit. And we will see that the Romanian +1 becomes a +2 in favor of Germany. Now, consulting the table over here as we're going to activate something. Germany has... Let's see now. Romania is... Where is Romania? Oh, it's underneath Portugal. Okay. And Romania is, in fact, allied with France. So, to get Romania to move, we need 3 points. And we only have the 2. So, I think we're gonna need to break that alliance with France at some point. There, I'm gonna make it like that, and flip it like that so you can see clearly. What other country might be beneficial to us to activate? We could activate Poland just to get rid of +1 to the Soviet Union. We could activate Denmark to get rid of a lot of bonuses to the Allies. Make sure that it doesn't actually leave the neutral zone. On the other hand, attacking Denmark now will actually give the Commonwealth a casus belli because Commonwealth has, in fact, managed to guarantee Denmark. So we can't just curb stomp them and hope for and expect no reaction from the rest of the world, which is really annoying, of course. It might be the case that activating Denmark is, well, we have a -2 to the US, +2 to the Commonwealth. I don't know if I want to burn the -2. Baltic states. Hungary, there's a lot of things going on in Hungary. Hungary is sitting here, and it's allied to Italy. I could move it a little bit. At this point, the resource there is going to Italy. Have I counted with that? I'm not sure. I have to double check. So, if I choose to activate Hungary, I feel it's a little bit premature. You just activate Iraq to remove the slight influence there from France and the Soviets. There we go. Iraq will not move out of the neutral zone. Alright, so that was the German action. And we're gonna put the die in here. I'm superstitious like all gamers. If I don't put the die into the thing, it's gonna roll low. So here we go. A 1 or a 2, but we want a 3+, really. And we got a 3+. Or do we? I mean, Germany is pretty fine with the turn ending, but the turn didn't end. So the United States of America has, in fact, spent 5 of its 7 bid points on this turn, so they're gonna do something very radical indeed. What could it be? I'm gonna tell you. It's gonna be a 0 A by political effectiveness, which costs 6 money. That's a lot of money to invest. But so the US is going to go down to -5, and they only have like the 5 production per turn. But that also means that the United States get now a political effectiveness of 3, and is therefore comparative to the other allies. We have new skeletons coming in here. So Berlin secures a new eastern supply line. This is a response to the economic agreement with Romania. A fresh economic agreement in southeastern Europe presented publicly as a stabilizing trade arrangement. Officials stress commerce and mutual benefit, while foreign observers note the obvious strategic value of Romanian oil and raw materials. In Paris and London, reaction is cautious but uneasy. The agreement is another reminder that Germany can gain strength without firing a shot, and that influence, once purchased, is rarely surrendered. Meanwhile, from Washington, we have reports as well. Washington strengthens the presidency. In a quiet but consequential move, the Roosevelt administration has secured expanded political authority within the federal government, consolidating executive coordination at a time of growing global uncertainty. Officials describe the development not as a departure from neutrality, but as a necessary measure to ensure that American policy, whatever direction it may take, can be executed with clarity and efficiency. Behind the scenes, observers note that this strengthened political footing may prove decisive in the months ahead. With Europe uneasy and Asia already aflame, Washington appears determined that when decisions must be made, the White House will possess both the legitimacy and the machinery to act. For now, America remains at peace, but its leadership is quietly preparing for heavier responsibilities. So, political efficiency 3 brings the US up to other comparable nations. And we have Ireland here, which has a +2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I'm going to move this one, I'd have to move it like that, and that I can't because there's only +2 to the US. So that's not going to happen. Activating Denmark doesn't help anyone at this stage. Portugal, not so much either. Well, I guess Portugal is an option because we have +1 to Italy and +1 to Japan, and the Soviets we don't care too much about. And the US can, in fact, activate Portugal. So let's do that. Everybody's just activating miners to countermand other political influences. The American ambassador to Portugal sits down with the foreign secretary in the Portuguese government and discusses how the Axis are really not that charming and how we really should not be paying too much attention to them, even though they might be all smiles and politeness. There are daggers behind those smiles. All right, let's see if the US will roll out. That is a 0 option, so there is no US entry at all. Nobody reacts. Okay, and this is not the roll because I just put it in the box. And now comes the roll. Let's go. And it's an 8, so Italy gets to act. Okay, so let's see now. Germany has already done a minor economic agreement, so Italy cannot. But Italy also has almost no money and is running out of bid points, so Italy is going to go for a 0G, which it gives them 9 bid points, so puts them up to, well, how many did we start with? Sorry. I had bet for Italy. Only the 1, actually. Okay, so -1 and then +9. So we're up to 12 bid points. This can never have anything to do with the fact that Italy gets to gear up next turn militarily. I'm sure. It's not preparing itself for anything of the kind. A 0G also means that Italy gets to activate something, of course. And yet again, we have the question of what to activate, because frankly, there isn't a whole lot to work with at this stage. We're going to have a look at Hungary again. I think we might have a look at Hungary. Just because. I think Italy can activate Hungary, right? Yeah. So Hungary is here, and it's allied with Italy. So a +1 to Italy moves Hungary here. A -1 to France will do nothing from that position. A +1 to the Soviets would move Hungary over here. A +1 to Germany doesn't do anything because it can't get across here. It would cost 2 points. A -1 to France likewise does nothing. So, Hungary has moved 2 steps after consultations with the Italian ambassador. And after some skepticism towards the German cause, thanks to the sweet talking of the German ambassador, the Hungarian government is now, shall we say, split down the middle in terms of where to turn the allegiance, Germany or Italy. Even though formally on paper they are allied with Italy. Let's see how long that alliance will last. Alright, so that was the Italian action, a 0G. And if we can continue now, we'll see here in a moment. I'm just putting down the die. That was not the roll, but here's the roll. And yes, we do continue. So that is the Commonwealth taking action. And the Commonwealth bid 3 points. This is a longer political turn than we're used to, maybe. Only because I'm rolling normally now. 1, 2, 3. Commonwealth can also gear up next turn. There's going to be gear ups next turn, y'all. And the Commonwealth will... apparently go with a 0G. The Commonwealth holds its hands and counts its options. The British government made no new political move this turn, while ministers emphasizing measured planning and the management of far-flung commitments. Public language remains calm. Deterrence without provocation. Behind closed doors, the calculation is clear. Britain is stockpiling leverage for the turns ahead, when speed and initiative may matter more than speeches. Yep, that is apparently what we decided. Alright, so the Commonwealth spent 3, gains 9, is up to 16. It's preparing for the gear up in January, definitely. And we'll activate a minor country. I have a feeling 1938 is going to be a busy year, folks. Busy year. Denmark, there's no point in activating. No point in activating Ireland either, because we wanted to get out of the neutral zone. We could activate Austria just because, but it's going to go kaput anyway. Romania, there is a definite point in activating Romania. Maybe even Turkey. Because by now, Romania is getting very influenced by Germany, and we don't like that much. So, yeah, the Commonwealth will activate Romania, make sure the British ambassador talking to the Romanian government about how it might be unwise. Trading with Germany, fine. Aligning with German foreign policy objectives, maybe stay away from that for now. We don't know yet what this chancellor... He's only been in office for 5 years. So, Romania will remain where it is currently. It remembers its alliance with France. So that was just putting that on there. Let's go. Let's see what happens here. We've had 2-0... That's a 10. Okay. Japan. We have a whole bunch of... Japan consolidates as the China war continues. Japan has taken no new diplomatic steps this period, focusing instead on consolidating its position while operations in China continue. Officials offer routine statements about stability and security, avoiding commitments beyond the present conflict. Foreign observers note that restraint in Tokyo often precedes decisive movement, not the other way around. Japan had bid 1 point out of its pool. And now it gets 6 new ones. So it's going to end up at 11. And what country should be activated by Japan, if any? There isn't a whole lot that Japan can activate, really. Persia has already been activated. It could activate Portugal, but there's no point. It could activate Spain, but there's nothing in there. The Netherlands have already been activated. Okay, we'll activate... Can we activate Turkey? I don't think they can. No. Portugal. Activate Portugal a second time, even though there are no markers there. We're running out of influence here, folks. So that was another 0G. We've had 3 of those in a row, and that's not the die roll again. We've had... So it's 1, 2, 3. So it's 1 to 3 to end the turn before the Soviets can act. And the Soviets can act. And the Soviets, they bid 1 point. And yet again, they're going to go with the 0G because they are also rebuilding after the purge. Announced no new external policy this period, prioritizing internal cohesion and military recovery following recent upheavals. The government's message is discipline, unity, and readiness, though readiness may take time. For now, Moscow watches Europe and Asia with cold patience, accumulating strength rather than spending. So, the Soviets, much like Japan, also have a political efficiency of 2, so they're going to be at 20 bid points in their pool, and have no interest in activating Poland or the Baltic states. Austria? Where's Austria? Austria is here. You can pull Austria a little bit away from things, I guess. Maybe. No, I don't think so, because... maybe. Why not? Let's do it, just because. We're running out of countries to activate, but next turn there's going to be gearings up, gear ups, and all sorts of shenanigans. 38 is going to be a busy year, folks. Okay. So, -1 to France. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's not... We're not going to play that one yet. Germany. We could bring it into this side here, but we don't want to. We want to move it this way. And now, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's annoying. We've used this one. -1 to France is just going to bounce, isn't it? And we could play the +2 to Germany and then a -1 to France, which would move it over here. Which is no big difference, really. Yeah. But I can't see any other way of playing that. Oh well. Austria deep in the German orbit. That was perhaps to be expected. It's still a 1 to 3 to end the turn. That was not the roll. Here comes the roll. To end the political turn. And the political turn has not ended. Which means that France gets to do something. And France is, unsurprisingly, France bid 1 point, which did actually come out of its cash box because it has no bid points at all. So it has now -2 in deficit here. And France is definitely going to play a 0G because it needs those sweet, sweet bid points for future actions, gear ups and otherwise. So France will have 9 bid points and will activate what country? We can activate Turkey, why not? A +1 to Germany and a -1 to France is not so good. So let's do that. Again, France will nullify any influence from the Axis. The French ambassador being very active with talks in Ankara surrounding Turkey's relations with the rest of the world, encouraging that neutrality that Turkey is so proud of. All right. Yeah, Paris regroups after political strain. France has chosen a quiet turn, rebuilding political reserves rather than taking new initiatives abroad. Officials emphasize stability and preparedness, with attention increasingly drawn to events in China and the shifting balance in Europe. France is not stepping back from the board. It's restoring the ability to move when the moment comes. So now we have to roll yet again, and it's going to be a 1 to 3 for this political turn that everybody has been able to do something to do. That was not the roll. I just put the die in the box, and now we roll, and even China gets to do something. Lo and behold, everybody had a chance to do something. It's because of all the 0 Gs. And you know what? Nanjing endures, conserving strength. China has taken no new diplomatic action this period, with the government's attention fixed on the continuing war and the immediate demands of survival. Resources and political capital are husbanded carefully. For China, endurance is strategy, and time, if it can be bought, may become its most valuable ally. China only gets 3 bid points like this, so it had 1 that it spent on getting to do something, and it gains 3 more. So now it has 5 bid points, which means that China, in the future, might actually be able to do something. It has things to do. It can modernize the army if it has a lower initiative than Russia and Japan, and the US 0F is played this turn. And of course, China could also share power between Chiang Kai-shek and Mao, which would allow the collaboration between different forces here. So we should not sneeze at the fact that China gets to do something and accumulate some political bids, because it's going to need them. It's definitely going to need them. Alright, with that, the political action phase is in fact over, and we go over to military affairs. And first of all, reinforcement stage. We are on November-December. Don't let that marker fool ya. November-December is where we're at. And China gains a communist infantry unit. And the communist infantry will always turn up in Lanzhou. That is their home base. It's going to be a long walk to the front lines, but they've done long walks before. Japan gains a fighter wing, a fighter squadron, whatever the size. I don't even know what the size of the units are in this. Like we have armies here, and we have divisions here, and I don't know what size that is. But it's a size, and it's 5, so pretty good. Some pretty good zeros in there. Of course, right now Japan doesn't really need them because air supremacy is established. China will have to buy fighter pilots and do that soon, but I think China's prioritizing just getting infantry at this stage to hold the line, as it were. So over here we have some French reinforcements, 1 army corps and another fighter wing, fighter group, fighter unit, whatever the size might be. I don't know. Somewhere. So this infantry will come in. I mean, I could put it in Reims. Bethana is there, right? And we have another fighter then in Paris. Plenty of fighters. There are more fighters elsewhere for France as well. We get an American light surface unit. Probably put that on the east coast, because one fine day we're gonna need those escorts. And it's almost like we can see the future. There's no hindsight here. We're just that prophetic. An armored corps to Germany. Are they allowed to do that according to the Versailles Treaty, asking for a Czechoslovakian friend? The answer is no. And we have a British transport, of course, coming in. Commonwealth transports. That is what Commonwealth always needs. It's going to be in London. Now, I do believe, yes, we have our convoy all the way out to Australia. We have convoys here. It's all good. Maybe we should reroute the convoys so that they're going like along the African coast, but yeah, for now it's fine. I recall I had half a mind to move this division over to Malta, and that could be, it could be a good time for that soon, couldn't it? We already have a fighter in the desert, and some units as well, including transport here. I'm thinking if that transport should go to Australia to pick up various Australian units when the time comes, because we have... Oh, we don't have any actual Australian army yet, because I haven't actually merged the force pools. Yes, yes, it's water tank. It's all for agricultural expansion, of course. Of course. You can hear it in the name, right? A tank. And then it's not a core, it's a crop. It's a crop tank. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly, Commando. You're quite right. That's what it is. That's all it is. It's just for peaceful agricultural purposes. How would you ever suspect anything else? You germaphobe. Anyway. Let's see who gets the initiative for this impulse. Initiative segment comes now. And this will be important for Japan, I guess. It is an allied initiative. Does Japan want to have a reroll to be able to punch through some lines here? You know what? That might not be a bad idea, because look at all this juicy land to the south that is available if we can get the punch through. So why not spend a reroll on that? And there we go. It worked. Axis initiative. Axis initiative. What is the weather now? Let's see if the reroll was worth it. It's a 6. The weather is a 6 in November, December, which makes it very worth it. 2 attacks in China. It's the best possible weather Japan could get. Clear literally everywhere. Not in the Arctic and not in the Arctic Circle, but no operations in China are going on in those areas. So, yeah. We have played the resources to China option from the US with US entry option, US entry action, but China currently has enough resources and not in a screaming need of them, so there's no point in actually sending resources to China yet. We might have played that a little bit early, but the US entry on the US entry actions are not actually sensitive to the year they're being played. That's for like political options. So, let's go. We are going to have a combined action for the Japanese, obviously. And we're going to want to set... We didn't get a single Japanese infantry this turn. Have you noticed? I have. 2 ships are going to go up here. 1... Ah, this one is better, but it won't get as far up on the 1, 2, 3, 4, so it won't matter. We can just set these guys here. It's going to be 4 points of shore bombardment. And... we still don't have the tanks. Oh, look, I hadn't unflipped this guy. It's unflipped. So, let's think about this. We have 2 attacks in China this turn. Whoops. 13 plus 13 is 26 against 4. That is definitely something. And since I'm a math whiz, I know it immediately what it is. It is, in fact, 6-1 on the assault table, which is lovely. We should definitely grab that. And here we'd have 13 plus 11, so that's 24, plus the 4 out in the water, that's 28. Divided by 3, that's 9-1. If we could get ourselves... Yes, we can. By using this, we can, in fact... Or we could be, like, nifty, and we can do a ground strike here to get a +1. I don't know if I'm needing a ground strike, but we should use the ground strike because we have it available. And then we could do a para-drop here to get the first ever parachute attack of the game That gives us 4 more points. So now we have 11 plus 13 plus 4 plus another 4 for the shore bombardment is 32, which is 10 to 1 on the poor Chinese infantry here. That's not good news, is it? Not for the Chinese, anyway. I'm just gonna have a look here really quickly. No, not that one. That's the one I'm looking for. Okay, we have resource transportation, action segment, combined. Not that. I'm looking for. HQ support 10765. Just a rule reference, it happens in this game because there's a lot of rules. 10765. 10765. HQ support. A face-up HQ can provide HQ support in one land attack if it occupies or is adjacent to the stack under attack. It may not affect an adjacent stack if an attack has been declared against its own stack. Units in a land section can only receive HQ support in defense from HQs in the same land section. HQ support cannot be used in overruns. When land attacks are declared, so the facing side announces which HQs are supporting the attack. We don't need HQ support from the Japanese, obviously. I was more thinking about HQ support in defense from HQs in the same land section. Okay, I guess he can't support them here. So 3 to 1, that's terrible. That's 10 to 1 on the, we said, assault table, which is a breakthrough and nobody's flipped. So the aircraft, they will return home. The Chinese army is destroyed, and we can move in the 7-4 into Tianjin. And Tianjin, ladies and gentlemen, is in fact a Chinese city. And as always, when the Japanese enter a Chinese city, there will be a lot of news coverage from reporters on the ground reporting about the devastating results for civilians of this action. And I now need to remember how much US entry that was. Which is... I don't know why I don't remember that, because I've done this so many times. Japan occupies a Chinese city. It is a 4. So, 4 to Japan. Which means that we end up with a net gross of 35. And a net effective US entry of 3 against Germany. Minus 4 against Italy, and 13 against Japan. Minus 15 to the Soviet Union remains. This looks very bad for the Chinese in any way, shape, and form that you might want to describe it. Remember, the Chinese can only move 2 land units, so it's going to be a tricky situation here for it. I think basically the Eastern Seaboard is lost. We're moving in here. We don't need the ground strike necessarily, but we could do it just to get a +1. We have 13. It was 6 to 1, wasn't it? 6 to 1 on the assault table is 5 to 1. So a +1 for the ground strike is actually useful. So let's roll a 1 or a 2, and the unit is flipped. It is not flipped because the Japanese pilots cannot find their way properly. So 5-3, yeah. And then we roll a d6 on a 5-1. And it's a 6. Oh my god. The end of China as we know it. Yeah, that's 2 shattered. So nobody is even flipped. That's 2 more cores, 2 more armies. Just 2 more Chinese armies destroyed. And we will move these guys in here, removing another resource from the Chinese availability, adding 1 more to the Japanese, which adds to their production, really. So that is the Japanese turn. I didn't move anything up here because I'm not sure I need to. Yeah. Things are looking very bleak for the Chinese. For Italy and Germany, things are considerably calmer for reasons. I can move Manstein up there. I can move these guys up here. Otherwise, not really a whole lot of activity going on right now. We have no need to consider Spain because it hasn't blown up into a civil war. I suppose I could rebase an aircraft here down to Tobruk. But there's also, you know, what will happen to Yugoslavia? We don't know yet. So there might be things happening there. And frankly, Italy needs to build more army and such. So yeah, that's basically it for the Axis side. And because we are on... Oh, it's only 1 step for every impulse there. So this is going to be a long November, December. It's like it's summer all over again. Yes, going on maneuvers and... yes, absolutely. Okay, so now the Chinese... There can't be any more attacks from the Japanese. So Chiang is actually safe. Believe it or not. He can stay here for now. While these guys move down here and get a zone of control into Xinan. It's not going to be enough, of course, to keep Japan from getting into Qingdao, Xinan. But maybe we will be able to lengthen the lines enough to keep southern China from collapsing completely. Now I can't move these guys, but I can move these. So they will have moved a little bit. And these guys are now in the line of fire, which is exactly where Mao wanted them. These guys are... Wait, I can move them in here. I can rail them like that. Boom. Just straight into Taiwan. I believe I can, right? Or is the case that every city counts as nationalist, so I can't actually do that, maybe. However that might be, it's going to be fine because we're going to march them there eventually anyway. Could put Mao down here because this feels like a pretty solid defense. I don't see how the Japanese are going to get through there. And that's basically about it. I was doing some shenanigans here with the Soviets. So I'm going to continue doing some shenanigans with the Soviets. Just to straighten out... Well, these guys can stay where they are. It's fine. We have no infantry in Vladivostok at all, which is fine, because that means that we can, in fact, in time, build more infantry, build more army, and put them right into Vladivostok. I'm going to rebase the aircraft here to Zhukov's headquarters, so that if we want to build another fighter, because we're looking at Japan, they have fighters, we can do that. Tensions on the border between the Soviets and the Japanese, but not so much that it's boiling over just yet. We can, however, set this 5-3 out here to Siberia by rail. As for the Commonwealth, let's see. I am actually going to send 1 transport far, far away. 1, 2, 3. And it's gonna go all the way over here. So it will be able to rebase somewhere over there eventually. Another transport here. We do have 2 naval moves with the Commonwealth, right? Yeah, we do. So we're gonna keep this fighter here, of course, but this naval unit, this... Oh, I'm gonna wait until we have some infantry to transport with that one. We're gonna need another transport to put in Canada as well eventually, but that's coming, right? Yeah, that's coming. It's gonna be fine. Alright, so we've had all those actions taken, and that's the end of the Allied First Impulse. Axis Second Impulse, and now we've burned the 2 attacks that we could do in China. But look at all this lovely real estate that has opened up for us. The Marines will step into Xiamen. That's what the city is. I know it's called Xiamen because I spent almost a year there when I was a young man studying Chinese. So, you didn't know that, did you, dear audience? The Marines are now in the port, which means, of course, that we can shuffle troops in there. It's Japanese controlled, and that is, you know, a high value target right there. We're going to rebase this aircraft. 1, 2, 3, 4 here. We're going to move troops here. 1. And that's it, because we need to hold this land. So I guess we're going to do it this way. We could do, actually, no, we moved the Marines, so I have 2 more moves, right? Which means that I'll have to do it like this. And because we now stepped into Xinan, that is another Chinese city occupied, which causes another stir in the US. In American homes, people are reading the latest news from China with, well, they're appalled, frankly. They're writing to their members of Congress. They are expressing their concern over what these Japanese troops are doing to the poor Chinese people as they are ravaging through the countryside. And slowly but surely, the US entry towards Japan is climbing up. It's now at a 17 because of the outrage, I'm saying, that is resulting from these occupations. But that is as far as we go, because we only have 3 land moves. China is saved by a limit in the number of land moves that the Chinese have, the Japanese have. We've already concluded that there isn't a whole lot else going on for the Italians or the Germans, so we go to the Allies, and we're gonna put the 3 down here. I mean, this guy is in so much trouble, we don't like that. 1 step like that. 1 step here. I can't move Chang yet. I'll have to wait with moving Chang until we have the communists closer by. So he's just going to stand there as a blocking force and not move for now. And hopefully he'll be able to escape and get up here before the Japanese just stomp on him. China is like, help, please. More infantry. We need them now. Please. As for the Allies, we've already moved what we needed to move. We have our fighters here. We have... Do I want to reinforce the Maginot Line? I mean, this is a little bit sketchy, honestly. So maybe it should be reinforced. Let's go. 1, 2, 3... Send the Algerians down as well. Then we can have a solid Maginot Line. France needs to build more infantry, clearly. Speaking of which, we can also do a little bit of moves here with Gort and these lads. Gort moves here, the lads move there. And we can rebase the aircraft over there. You know, just in case. It's just a drill out in the desert. It's just a drill in the desert. You don't have to, you know, make a big deal out of it, Italy, right? Don't make a big deal. Okay, I guess that is it for allied moves. Third Axis impulse. The turn cannot end yet. Okay. Japan. Japan needs an HQ here to be able to push inwards, so that's a thing to build, to be sure. 1, 2. Okay, 3, because Hatta has, you know, not kept up with... They're in supply because they're along the coast, but we haven't stepped on Qingdao yet, so Qingdao is technically still, just to mark it, Chinese. But for how long is anyone's guess? Are we gonna move this aircraft? Yes, we are. We don't really need it here because there's no Chinese Air Force to deal with, so I'm just gonna move it up here to Harbin, just as a, you know, statement, I guess, towards the Japanese, towards the Soviets. And that will be it for now. Yeah. Axis, once again. Should we do anything down here? Might want to send an HQ down here, honestly. Do I have an HQ? I do have an HQ. Do I have a transport? Transport is up here. The risk for war is very low right now. Right? I mean, we have a non-aggression pact between Italy and France. I'm sure nothing bad can happen anytime soon. But they have Gort, so... Okay, I'll respond. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, it's Badoglio! It will, of course, land, right? How many land moves do we have as Italy? Italy has 2 land moves. I guess it means that we're standing like this right now. And the transport is used. But now, the British can't just, you know, roll right into Libya. Very important. Alright. We go to the next Allied impulse. The Soviets will move yet again here. We can move another 5-3 from Kyiv up to eastern Siberia. Being railroaded out there. We're not going to move too many troops though, because we need to build the defense there as well, so a couple units is fine. Now it's up to China here to try to defend as best as it can. Once again, we're moving 1 unit like so. And I can't get any further here. Nanjing is in danger. We want the turn to end, is what China wants right now. This is, however, not a very important place to be. So if I do this and that, I mean, we're going to get infiltrated between here, but we will keep Nanjing. And that might not be a terrible idea. Because that stops the Japanese from moving in and grabbing the resource as well. So now there is, of course, infiltration possibilities here. It's not a good situation to be in, but it's not, you know, the end of the world either, because, well, it kind of is. But you know, if I do that, if I let Chung stay here for another impulse, that actually might be better. None of these guys have zonal control because we are in fact in Asia, so this guy could go like 2 steps here. But he doesn't have much in the way of follow-ups from the rest of it. Like, they just can't keep the pace because they need to, you know, only 3 steps per impulse here. So there's that small hope. Small hope. Chang does not want to stay here unsupported, but it's where we are at now. Right. So that is as far as it goes in China, I guess. And the action phase will end on a 1. It does not end. The Axis will get another chance at this. And what will we do with that? 1, 2, but it's out of supply. No, it's not out of supply. It will be out of supply, though. Yeah, it will be out of supply because we have supply along the coastline here. This is a source of supply now, so it could, but yeah, it can get out of supply very easily. So Hatta will move there. This one will move here, I think. And what else? Maybe bring this one down here. Or this one. No, even better, this one. 1, 2, like that. So I have 1, 2, 3. That's all I can do. Time is acting against Japanese because of logistical issues, not because of, you know, any other problem. But yeah, they're just storming into whatever they can in China. They can get to the resource, but they would be out of supply, I think. So that's a thing to consider. It's not easy being China right now, that's for sure. And the Axis are just generally pleased with how the rest of the world looks. So we will see if the turn ends, if the action phase ends. It ends on a 1. It does not. We go on to the Allies. Impulse. Don't know that I want to move these guys, honestly. I mean, I could move them here to protect this resource. That leaves Nanjing, Hangzhou, and Shanghai open to occupation this very turn. But all that will really do is to drive up US entry, and I'm not sure that's a terrible thing for China. Now, it's as long if Japan had tanks, the cities would be more important to keep because it would be assault tables. But yeah, okay. We now have Taiyuan here. We can move Chang over here, so that would be 2 moves to protect the resource. I think that's the play, because, or is it? Like, this guy could go there, this guy could go here, and then you have one guy here. And then the resource is in danger, but I don't know that they can get any further, because they don't have... Oh, they do have one more troop, don't they? So, okay, let's do that instead, because it's better to have them... I don't want to have, like, a Japanese sort of snake of troops going down like that, if I'm China. It's much better to keep the resource and let go of Nanjing. On the other hand, they can't get the resource immediately, so if they start doing the snaking thing, I can do this next impulse. So let's hold on to Nanjing for now, just in case. Mao is here. Can even do this because it's all on the Soviet move. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and flipped because it's forest. And that is basically it. Will the impulse end or not? It's a 1 or a 2, and China definitely wants it to end, but it doesn't. See, this is the problem for China. There's just so much. Yeah, absolutely. Land for time. That's the play. So this 8-4 can go down here, but that's kind of useless for Japan for the moment. What we want to is to get... Oh, right, because it's 2 movement points, right? So China wants to be here. So that's the play, because they have 2 movements, not just the 1, and it's all clear. So we have 1 step like that, And then since we don't get the resource, we can do this, because it's a port, which again angers US entry. That's the third city in this impulse. That's 4 more points, so more reports of aggravation and war horror stories from the front line from China is coming through. The US entry to Germany is now a 7, to Italy is now 0, and to Japan is now a 21, which is, folks, halfway, a quarter of the way towards declaring war. So I did that one. I did that one. That was one move, right? And I did. So what we need to do here is, okay, the 8-4 moves 1-2. I guess it could move 1-2 like that. Doesn't matter. Now we have the square. Hex. Whatever. 1. I haven't moved this one. 1, 2. And then there's one more unit to move. And both of these are 3s. So, there. Though I will need Hata. Yeah, I still need those guys to move down there. I will need Hata down here just to be able to continue the supply line. So, that will be it. We don't want to grab Nanjing just yet because of the dang US entry that has... I mean, it's for every city, right? So it just, you know, shoots into the stratosphere right now. But yeah, that's the situation for the moment. It's not easy being Chinese. Okay then, let's see if the action phase ends. Nothing to see here, move along. And the action phase is over, and Axis got to do one more impulse than the Allies, so we go right back to the center square here, center hex, and we go on with the next phase, partisan phase. It is gonna be number 6. Greece, UK, Finland, France, Netherlands, French, Indochina, Philippines, and China. Well, China will actually be relevant this time, won't it? Let's see. Except we have so many Japanese units, and they are not in, like, zone of control, so there's not going to be much of any... Yeah, they'll be able to suppress the partisans this time, is what I'm saying. Okay. We have no convoy attack phase, but US entry phase we do have. It's going to be with a -1 still, because it's just the war between Japan and China. So it's going to be a 0. And I rolled a 1, -1, so -1 US entry. Oh, that's just terrible. Okay. Japan is celebrating. So instead of ending up with a 43, we'll end up with a 42, which puts us to still the same. Oh, -1 to Italy. And a 20 to Japan. That's how we end up. Is there anything that we can do? We're sending resources to China. The US could embargo on strategic materials. The US only convoying fewer resources to Japan per turn instead of, you know, what is it, 4? I think we might need to do this. Yeah. Will take effect next turn, of course. So, yeah, we're going to do the embargo with the US because someone's got to do something. That adds 5 to the US entry pool for the USA. And that runs down the effective US entry considerably. Italy is now at -6. Japan is at 15. But it will affect, and the USSR is at -20. But it will affect how many resources are sent every turn to Japan. I have to check exactly how many are reduced, but... So Congress is taking action. They hear about all these horrible things happening in China, and they are going to start strangling the number of resources that are sent to the Japanese in response. An embargo, you know. That was the US entry phase. Production phase, here we go. The US has -5 because it bought political efficiency. It now has 0 money. It's probably not going to build anything this turn. This one has to be in at 41. There's a long time to go to 41. This one has to be in 42. Also a long time to be. So yeah. No, I think the US is not going to build anything this turn. So we're just, you know, waiting for the next thing. Did I even gear up? Yeah, I think I gear up. Yeah, I can. Commonwealth has 6 production. Next turn, they get to gear up. 6 money. This one has to be done 39, so we don't have to worry about that right now. That's in 41. Also don't have to worry about that. Very good. We've built all the transports. So that's a thing. In that case, I think we'll build a light surface destroyer group because, let's face it, they're gonna need all they can get. It's an Australian. How is it Australian? Have I added the Australians? Okay. There we go. Australian light surface unit. There we go. First path on that circle. And I think that is all we're going to do with the Commonwealth as well. Because they're going to gear up soon too. France has a production of 7. So plus 5. 5 money. Does not have to build that one yet. Has nothing to build there either. Okay, that's going to be another infantry for France. No big surprise there. 6-3. Lovely. We need to man the line, folks. That's what we need to do. Yep, that's all France does this time. No aircraft this time. The USSR. You can never guess what the USSR wants to build. Could it be an infantry? Yes, it could be. How did you know? It's a mystery to everyone. It's a 4-2. Just keep churning them out. We actually built an armor last turn. But now we're back to infantry again. China is a little bit on the desperate side in so many ways. Just a little bit. They have 3 money, and that's exactly enough to build an infantry. Remember, we have political options that we need to do as well, but, you know, at this stage, things are just looking really bleak for them. So, an infantry it is. It's a 5-3. Not bad. Desperately needed. Alright. One infantry this turn. Because if we can get the modernization of the forces going, like, in that case, we would get some pretty sweet, like, extra stuff here. We have, look at these guys. cool stuff, right? So that would be nice to have, is what I'm saying. It's, you know, short-term pain for long-term gain. Alright, we have Germany. 15 production. That is 13 money. What do we need in Germany? Always more tanks, obviously. January, February 39. Need to build that one next turn, I guess. But not now. And nothing there either. Good, good. Okay, so how much Luftwaffe do we have on the way? We have a fighter, we have a tank, we have some infantry, we have a strategic bomber. You know what? Another strategic bomber is not a terrible idea. Because that's going to keep the British very busy. So that is 6 money. And then another infantry, obviously. Always another infantry. Nice. Now we're down to 4 money. We could go for another fighter. Yeah, why not? Let's go. I think I have a gearing limit that allows that. Let's have a look, just in case. Yep. No sub this turn. But 1 infantry. So we have ourselves a fighter. And these are good ones. All the Messerschmitts. All the Messerschmitters. And another strategic bomber. I think we're good in terms of strategic bombers by now. At least for now. This is like a real threat to the British. So that's going to be fine. Italy has 1 money. Actually 4 money. That's 5 money in total. Wow, it's more money than we've had for ages. They don't have to build that ship now. Do they have to build this ship now? They do not. Okay, we're gonna build an infantry with Italy. This enormous new idea. Because there are almost no... Or are we? Are we building an infantry with them? Are we really building an infantry with these guys? Or are we building light surface ships or stuff like that? We have lots of transports to build. We have 1 transport there and that's it, apparently. Well, I think that might actually decide my build. If we only have 1 transport available at the moment, we're gonna need more. We're gonna need fighters, we're gonna need tactical bombers, there's a lot of stuff that we need to build. HQs, but those are very fast to build. Light surface units. But yeah, let's do it. Okay, if we transport a light surface. Light surface takes so much longer to build. So let's do the light surface then, I guess. So there we go. That's a good one too. The range is lovely. I mean, the gunnery is terrible, but the range is amazing. So it's good for something. We're not amazing. It's okay. The range is okay. It's Italian. Don't ask too much of the Italians. Is that nasty? Was I being unfair? Maybe. So Italy builds a ship. And then we have Japan. This one will come in November, December 39 to the construction pool, so we don't have to build it yet for a year. Comes on map 39, on map 42, so we don't have to build them yet. We have transports for now. We're gonna need more, but I think Japan actually needs an HQ. That's what I think. Japan has 10 money. It puts in 4 for an HQ. And I'm thinking here about the southern front. It's Ushijima. Well, not very impressive, is he? Do I want to build a light surface with Japan and an infantry? Or just build 2 infantry because we need them for infiltration purposes? Like that, then, I guess. (6-3) and a 6-3. Well, that's nice. That's some strong Japanese builds. And they're gonna be a problem for China, absolutely. And that is it for the builds. Production phase completed. Yep. Yep. Ushijima, well, he's not the most impressive HQ, but he's not there necessarily to flip up units. He's just there to provide supply. Return to base phase. We are returning to base with various ships. Like these guys. And these guys. And then we had the transport that I sent all the way out here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Look at that. We have a transport, or you know what? Let's put it in Darwin. Because Darwin is a city, and we can have like Australian troops popping up there. It's a long way from Australia to all the other places in the Empire, but you have to start somewhere, right? And yeah, I think that is it for ships and such. And also Japanese allied victory. Final reorganization. That's it. We are going to unflip everything that was flipped. Only 2 battles this time, but 2 pretty significant battles because they just bashed a complete hole in the Chinese lines. And it's looking a bit tough now for the Chinese, but they're getting 2 infantry next turn during reinforcement, which I think is going to pop up either in Xi'an or Wuhan. And then they can shore up some kind of line and stabilize the situation a little bit. So, there's that. Did we have anything flipped here? Nope, we did not. Everything was fine. Oh, we had 2 Soviet corps armies in eastern Siberia here. And this guy. So, yeah, that's where we're at with all of that. Alright, we are at the end of the turn for November-December 1937. When we come back in a week from now, ladies and gentlemen, we will start 1938, which I'm sure will be a much more peaceful year, much calmer year. Stabilization is in the future for Europe, or is escalation in the yeah. It's going to be, I'm sure all the cooler heads will prevail, and peace in our time will reign, and the League of Nations will solve this dreadful conflict that we're now seeing in China to the benefit of mankind. And with that, I will thank you for checking in the stream, and thank you for chatting, and for everyone who didn't chat, if you were rushing, follow, subscribe, press the bell icon, and we will see you next time. Because we will follow this to the bitter end.